Hi everyone, this is Algebra 2, Lesson 1-5, and as always, we're just going to get right into things. Number 1 says identifying solutions to a linear inequality in two variables. For each ordered pair xy, determine whether it is a solution to the inequality. So we kind of saw this, I believe, in 1-4 or 1-3, but all we're going to do is we're going to want to take these points here, so this is a point, this is a point, point, and point. And what we want to do is plug our x in for x and our y in for y, and we want to find out if the solution is true. I believe we have done one of these examples before, but let's go ahead and try this. So our first one is we have -2, -7. And I'm going to plug it into my standard form equation here. So I have 9 times -2 minus 5 times -7 is greater than 15. 9 times -2 is -18 plus 35. Remember, a negative times a negative is a positive. Is greater than 15. -18 plus 35 is a positive 17 is greater than 15. Is 17 greater than 15? Yes, it is. So that solution works. It is true. Let's try it for 3, -1. We get 9 times 3 minus 5 times -1 is greater than 15. 9 times 3 is 27 plus 5 is greater than 15. 32 is greater than 15. That one works. What about 5, 6? 5, 6. Let's do 9 times 5 minus 5 times 6 is greater than 15. You get 45 minus 30 is greater than 15. Is 15 greater than 15? No, it is not. Now, if this had a greater than or equal to sign, then this solution would be true. But since it is only greater than, this solution is not true. Let's try 0, 4. 9 times 0 minus 5 times 4 is greater than 15. We get 0 minus 20 is greater than 15. -20 greater than 15. That is not. So I'm going to put x's here. That is not a solution. So you can see, hopefully it's not too hard at this point to find what is a solution and what isn't. If anything, it just takes a lot of time. It's kind of busy work at the end of the day. So go ahead and try B on the right-hand side and move on to number 2. So number 2 says graphing a linear inequality in the plane. This huge box here with the x and y axis is just the plane. And we're going to be looking at vertical or horizontal lines. Again, we've already had a little bit of an introduction into vertical and horizontal lines in our previous sections. But we want to have a little bit of notes here that's going to help us with graphing these lines. So let's have our notes here. And when we have y is greater than or equal to, that's when we're going to shade above the line. Shade above. And again, this will make sense in a little bit. When we have y is less than or equal to, we're going to shade below the line. And then when we have y is less than or y is greater than, that's going to be a dashed or dotted line. Forgive me for my penmanship. And then we have y is less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. That's going to be a solid line. Again, this is just memorization at this point. You just have to remember these rules and these notes. So let's look at this. A right here is giving us y is greater than 7. y is greater than 7. So let's see this. Y 7. Okay, I plotted my point. Now, the question is this a dotted line or a solid line? I look at my notes here. This is going to be, I'm just going to use dashed. You can use dots if you want, but I'm going to do dashed. This is dashed. And it's also greater than, so I need to shade above. So before I even plot, or should I say draw a line, I kind of already figured out where am I shading? Is my line dashed? Is it not dashed? So that will hopefully help you. And so let's do a dashed line here. Again, this is a horizontal. And you kind of tell it's horizontal too, because if I did a vertical line, it would literally it would be like this right down on the y-axis. This doesn't make too much sense. I mean, it does at the end of the day, but kind of for what we're doing, I don't think I can, or I'll give you a problem. We'll have you dash a line right on the line itself. So we have the dashed line. Make sure we draw our arrows because this line goes on forever. And then I need to, it says shade above. And I'll get a highlighter out here. And let's do orange. And we shade above here. There you have it. And that's how you graph a line. Remember, if I were to draw a point here then, like say I had x is greater than 6, then I would have a dashed line going vertically. Okay? So just a little bit of a connection. And try the one on the right-hand side. Oh, look at, okay, so you have x is less than 3. So you will have a, I guess you have to guess, is it going to be vertical or horizontal? Let's look at number 3. It says graphing a linear inequality in the plane slope-intercept form, graph the inequality. So remember, if you recall, slope-intercept form was y equals mx plus b. Y equals mx plus b. Now, with an inequality, we're taking our notes that we had before and trying to figure out when I draw this line, even though this is not a horizontal or vertical line at this moment, am I going to be shading above or below the line? Is the line going to be solid? Is it going to be dotted, etc.? So this one is greater than. So greater than, I shade above the line. And since there's a equal to sign under it, it's going to be solid. A little bit of trick that helps me remember if it's solid or not. There's literally a solid bar right under this line, the equal to's part. It's literally a solid line. So I hope that trick helps you remember if it's solid or not. I know it does for me, so I kind of want to share that little tip with you. So let's go ahead and draw this. I need to identify my y-intercept. My y-intercept, I'm going to underline in blue here. It's right there, the -1. So I need to find my y-axis, which is right here, this vertical line. And -1 is right there. So that's where I'm going to start. That's where I'm going to start. Now remember, for our slope, it was mx. So this x is not part of it. But what number is invisible that is in front of a variable? We went over this before. Again, the question is, what number comes in front of a variable when the variable is just by itself? You should be thinking 1. So technically, this slope is 1 over 1, -1 over 1. So that's rise over run. Since it's negative, I need to go down, right, in a negative direction along my rise, which is my y-axis. So I need to go down 1 and then +1 direction because it's a +1 in the denominator. So that's why on the y-axis, or the x-axis, I'm going in a positive direction. So I go down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, etc., etc., and it's just going to keep going. And then same thing in this direction. And my line is not going to be perfect. So it's going to basically be like this. Again, it's a solid line, not a dashed line, because it's an equals to. And I had to figure out, is it going to be shaded above or below? It's greater than. So it's all of this area. Now, how can I test to see if this is true or not? Let's do it in green. Well, let's just pick a point here. I'm just going to pick any point in my shaded area. I'm going to do this point. Well, is this true? Then all I need to do is just, this is 0, 2. All I need to do is just plug it in. 0 is greater than or equal to minus x is 2. Excuse me. This is, I actually wrote this wrong down here. So let me redo the shaded. And this is actually a better color, would be a little bit darker. I think green does not do justice in this problem. This is 2, 0. I apologize, 2, 0. So I have 0, my negative 1 times 2 minus 1. 0 is greater than or equal to negative 3, and that is true. So that would be like a test, right? If I tested to make sure I shaded the right area, meaning any point that I pick, whether it's this one or this one or this one, is going to work and it's going to be true. Try the one on the right-hand side. So graphing a linear inequality in the plane using standard form, that's ax plus bx, that's ax plus bx equals c, excuse me, by, forgive me. So ax plus by equals c. And what we're going to do is we want to convert this standard form, if you remember, convert this standard form of ax plus by equals c into slope-intercept form. So we have negative x plus 2y is less than negative 4. I want to get my x on the right-hand side. So I have 2y is less than a positive x minus 4. We divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2. I get y is less than 1/2 x minus 2. Now, before I even graph this line, let's identify what we have here. This is my y-intercept. This is my slope. This is going to be a dashed line. And the question is do I shade above or below? Well, since it's less than, I'm going to shade below. So let's do that. I know my y-intercept's negative 2. My slope is a positive 1/2, so I need to go up 1 over 1. Or sorry, up 1 over 2. Up 1 over 2. Okay. And my line's not going to be perfect, but this is going to be a dashed line. It's not perfect, so I'm not using a ruler here. You can do dashed or dotted. And then we said it's going to be shaded below. It's going to be shaded below. So what you can do with that is plug in any point that you can in that shaded area. Mind you, when I shade, I literally mean like everything. This whole thing under is shaded. If you wanted to test this and make sure that you shaded correctly, just go ahead and choose any point, say this point right here, what is this, 6, 0, and plug that in and test to see if it's true. I would always test because you might make a mistake, and it's just an easier way of seeing if something is makes it true or not. For this specific example, just a heads up, it didn't ask us to shade, but I wanted you to get comfortable with shading. Try letter B on your own. Writing an inequality given its graph in the plane, horizontal or vertical boundary line, write an inequality for the graph below. So they already graphed this for us, and I see that it's a horizontal line, meaning it's intersecting or crossing through the y-axis. And even from memory, because I remembered horizontal lines, I know that it's going to be y. But I need to see where this line, this dotted line, crosses the y-axis, and it crosses it at a positive 3. Mind you, I haven't even figured out the inequality yet, meaning I don't know if it's greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, less than, or greater than. I just don't know. So let's figure this out. It's a dotted line, so I know that it's not an equals to, so I know that there's no bar, right? There's not that bar under that I told you if you need help remembering if it's a solid line or not. Since it's a dotted line, there's no bar. Now I need to figure out then if it's less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. I see that it's shaded above the line. So if you go back and refer to your notes, if it's above the line, then it's greater than. Meaning if I picked any number that represented y, then it would be greater than 3 if I chose. So if I picked 4, for example, 4 is greater than 3. If I chose 8, 8 is greater than 3, meaning that makes everything true. Try the one on the right-hand side. Let's try this word problem, writing a multi-step inequality for a real-world situation. Chris drives a truck for a soft drink company, let's say Coca-Cola. Sorry if you're a Pepsi fan. His truck is filled with 15-ounce cans and 70-ounce bottles. Let C be the number of 15-ounce cans the truck is carrying, and let B be the number of 70-ounce cans. The truck must be carrying less than 7,000 pounds, or in other words, 112,000 ounces. Using the values and variables given, write an inequality describing this. Okay, well, let's first just kind of write out what variables represent what. So we're saying, where is it? Let C be number of 15-ounce cans, okay? So C equals number of 15-ounce cans, and we're going to let B, let's let B equal number of 70-ounce cans, okay? So B equal number of 70-ounce, I think I said cans, I meant bottles here for B. Now, do you have to write out what C and B equals? No, if you're able to just read this and pick it out and just create the inequality for it, that's fine as well. This just basically helps me separate the information that I need in order to solve this or figure this out. So we're saying that the truck must be carrying less than, well, I know that I need a less than sign, 700 or 7,000 pounds. But everything is in ounces, so I'm going to write ounces. So let's create our inequality here. If the truck is filled with both cans and bottles, then what we need to do is we need to sum our 15-ounce cans with our 70-ounce bottles, and those should be less than 112,000 ounces. Again, if you're confused as to why I chose the 112,000, was because our cans and bottles are weighed in ounces here. And then they gave us ounces. So you have to kind of wonder, why are they giving us ounces in here? It's because they want us to use it. So kind of take the information that you need. It can be confusing. Do I use pounds or ounces? But again, just look and see what the cans or bottles or whatever the previous information is using, and that'll kind of be a tell sign of what metric, or in other words, what weight you should be using. Go ahead and try the one on the right-hand side on your own. Just follow the same steps we are doing here on the left-hand side, and you should be okay. Find your answer in the Play Pause It video, and that will be the conclusion of Algebra 2, Lesson 1-5. Take care, everyone.